Shri Radhakrishnaye Namo Namaha. At first, I offer my humble prayers in the lotus feet of Lord Shri Radhakrishna. I also extend warm greetings and respect to all of you. Today, from the scripture Shri Vivekcudamani, composed by Adi Shri Sankaracarya ji, we will be listening chapter number 13. The holy verses are as follows. By the samadhi are destroyed all desires which are like knots, all work is at an end, and inside and out there takes place everywhere and always the spontaneous manifestation of one's real nature. Reflection should be considered 100 times superior to hearing, and meditation 100,000 times superior even to reflection. But the Nirvikalp Samadhi is infinite in its results. By the Nirvikalp Samadhi, the truth of Brahman is clearly and definitely realized, but not otherwise, for then the mind, being unstable by nature, is apt to be mixed up with other perceptions. Hence, with the mind calm and the senses controlled, always drown the mind in the Supreme Self that is within, and through the realization of thy identity with that reality, destroyed the darkness created by nascence, which is without beginning. The first steps to yoga are control of speech, non receiving of gifts, entertaining of no expectations, freedom from activity, and always living in a retired place. Living in a retired place serves to control the sense organs. Control of the senses helps to control the mind. Through control of the mind, egoism is destroyed, and this again gives up the yogin an unbroken realization of the bliss of Brahman. Therefore, the man of the reflection should always strive only to control the mind. Restrain speech in the manas and restrain manas in the buddhi. This again restrain in the witness of buddhi and merging that also in the infinite absolute self attain to supreme peace. The body, pranas, organ, manas, buddhi, and the rest, with whichsoever of these supervening adjuncts the mind is associated, the yogin is transformed, as it were, into that. When this is stopped, the man of reflection is found to be easily detached from everything and to get the experience of an abundance of everlasting bliss. It is the man of dispassion or vairagya who is fit for this internal as well as external renunciation, for the dispassionate man, out of the desire to be free, relinquishes both internal and external attachment. It is only the dispassionate man who, being thoroughly grounded in Brahman, can give up the external attachment to the sense objects and the internal attachment for egoism and the like. Know, O wise man, dispassion and discrimination to be like the two wings of a bird in the case of an aspirant. Unless both are there, none can, with the help of either one, reach the creeper of liberation that grows, as it were, on the top of an edifice. The extremely dispassionate man alone has samadhi, and the man of samadhi alone gets steady realization. The man who has realized the truth is alone free from bondage, and only the free soul experiences eternal bliss. For the man of self control, I do not find any better instrument of happiness than dispassion, and if that is coupled with the highly pure realization of the self, it conduces to the suzerainty of absolute independence. And since this is the gateway to the damn self of everlasting liberation, therefore, for thy welfare be dispassionate both internally and externally, and always fix thy mind on the eternal self. Sever thy craving for sense objects which are like poison, for it is the very image of death, and giving up the pride of caste, family, and order of life. Fling actions to a distance, give up thy identification with such unreal things as the body, and fix thy mind on the Atman. For thou art really the witness Brahman, unshackled by the mind, the one without a second and supreme. Fixing the mind firmly on the idol, Brahman, and restraining the external organs in their respective centers with the body held steady and taking no thought for its maintenance, attaining identity with Brahman and being one with it, always drink joyfully of the bliss of Brahman in thy own self without a break. What is the use of other things which are entirely hollow? Giving up the thought of the non self, which is evil and productive of misery, think of the self, the bliss absolute, which conduces to liberation. Here shines eternally the Atman, the self effulgent witness of everything, which has the Buddhi for its seat, making this Atman, which is distinct from the unreal, the goal. Meditate on it as thy own self, excluding all other thought. Reflecting on this Atman continuously and without any foreign thought intervening, one must distinctly realize it to be one's real self. Strengthening one's identification with this and giving up that with egoism and the rest, one must live without any concern for them, as if they were trifling things like a cracked jar or the like. Fixing the purified mind on the self, the witness, the knowledge absolute, and slowly making it still, one must then realize one's own infinite self. One should behold the Atman, the indivisible and infinite, free from all limiting adjuncts such as the body, organs, pranas, manas, and egoism, which are creations of one's own ignorance, like the infinite sky. The sky, divested of the hundreds of limiting adjuncts such as a jar, a pitcher, a receptacle, or grains or a needle, is one and not diverse. Exactly in a similar way, the pure Brahman, when divested of egoism and the like, is verily one. The limiting adjuncts from Brahma down to a clump of grass are all wholly unreal. Therefore, one should realize one's own infinite self as the only principle, that in which something is imagined to exist through error is when rightly discriminated that thing itself and not distinct from it. When the error is gone, the reality about the snake falsely perceived becomes the rope. Similarly, the universe is in reality the Atman. The self is Brahma, the self is Vishnu, the self is Indra, the self is Shiva, the self is all this universe. Nothing exists except the self. The self is within and the self is without. The self is before and the self is behind. The self is in the south and the self is in the north. The self likewise is above as also below. As the wave, the foam, the whirlpool, the bubble, and so on are all in the essence but water. Similarly, the chitta, or knowledge absolute, is all this from the body up to egoism. Everything is verily the chitta, homogeneous and pure. All this universe known through speech and mind is nothing but Brahman. There is nothing besides Brahman which exists beyond the utmost range of Prakriti, are the pitcher, jug, jar, and the like, known to be distinct from the clay of which they are composed. It is the deluded man who talks of thou and I as an effect of the wine of Maya. The Shruti in the passage where one sees nothing else and so on declares by an accumulation of verbs the absence of duality in order to remove the false superimpositions. The Supreme Brahman is like the sky, pure absolute, infinite, motionless and changeless, devoid of interior or exterior, the one existence without a second and is one's own self. Is there any other object of knowledge? Thus concludes chapter number 13 from the scripture Shri Vivekcudamani. Thank you for listening. Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha.